The Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of the Nephilim. There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. I'm your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. We'll get into this paper, this article, written quite some time ago. I think you'll find it interesting, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Folks, have you taken a good look at the banks lately? On the surface, everything seems fine, but there seems to be a whole lot more going on underneath. It's like looking under the hood of a car and finding a mess of broken wires and parts. The parts are loans for homes, cars, and those credit cards we all use. Folks, they're hitting record highs. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Why risk your money for a tiny 5% return when things are so shaky? This is where Noble Gold Investments can help. They're like that friend who knows all about keeping money safe. They suggest gold and silver, oldies but goodies in the financial world. Plus, they've got a sweet deal, a free 1/4 ounce gold standard coin this month if you qualify. Pretty good stuff, right? If you're curious, just give them a call at 877-646-5347. It's just a chat, no pressure. They'll help you figure out if gold and silver are right for you. Or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Once again, the number 877-646-5347. Folks, we've invested in Noble Gold, and quite frankly, I'm glad we did. L.A. Marzulli's got the elongated skull out, and this is obviously is a model made by the late Joe Taylor. Unfortunately, Joe passed away a while ago. We considered him a close friend. We went to Peru with him 2 different times, and he was just a good guy. But this is Joe's handiwork. People ask me, L.A., would you keep something like this in your home? Not in the home, but it's in my set in the studio here, and we're going to be talking about this. Now, I'm going to read this, and again, I apologize. The gentleman sent me this, and I don't have his name. I neglected to write it down. Please forgive me. I ask your forgiveness. I should have been more diligent that way. But thank you. Thank you. And if you shoot me an email, we'll give you the Roswell 1 and Roswell 2 films for free as our way of saying thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, this is what he writes. This is all up in Teotihuacan. So Dr. Buchton says this indicates that the city of Tiwanaku was did I say Teotihuacan? That's Mexico. Tiwanaku is in Bolivia. It's right on, very close to Lake Titicaca, okay? So Tiwanaku is it's about 12,000 feet above sea level too. I've been there, and it was absolutely incredible. I wish I could have spent a week there, but I digress. Okay, Dr. Buchton says this indicates that the city of Tiwanaku was for a long time covered with water. Isn't that interesting? And that this was the cause of the wonderful preservation of the articles. Among the discoveries, a large number of skeletons of human beings. The bones were scattered about, and the jawbones were often a yard away from the skulls to which they belonged. While in the museum, I saw 30 or 40 perfect skulls, get this, which were practically the same as within a few years after the death of their owners, now more than 8,000 years ago. Those skulls are different from any now known. I'll say that again. Those skulls are different from any now known. They are of enormous size, and they indicate a race of giants. They slope back from the eyes almost to the crown, reminding one of the Flathead Indians in North America. The jawbones are heavy, and the teeth, after the rest of 80 centuries, are still almost perfect. And he goes on from there. I'm just going to leave it because I want to get into this. I'm going to show you a picture of what this one particular mummy, and I want you to look at something, and you'll see it. You'll see the greatly elongated skull. But notice where the spinal column is. And now we'll go to this model here. The spinal column is right here. It's in the back of the skull. It's in the back of the skull, all the way to the back. The foramen magnum, which is the brain, which is where the spinal column attaches to the skull, right here. So here it is, right here. It should be here. It should be in the middle of the skull, okay? But it's not. Should be in the middle of the skull, but it's not. It's all the way to the back. So when we show this to people, we've had medical doctors, we've had surgeons, archaeologists, anthropologists, a whole team of people look at these and go, whatever this is, whatever we're looking at here is something that is genetic. And that's what we believe. That's what we have been saying for years. This is why our DNA results is so absolutely crucial. Because, you know, how many samples do we have to do before the academics take notice? They won't take notice because they're afraid. They're afraid that it might overturn their paradigm, that all these people are the result of cranial deformation, cradle headboarding. Sure, some of them were cradle headboarded. We know that. But guess what? Many of them were not. And this is what the enigmatic Paracas skulls, which is what we see here, is really all about. And of course, our DNA evidence proved that the mitochondrial DNA came from Eastern Europe, the Middle East. That's right in our paradigm. It fits our hypothesis. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Last year at the Prophecy Watchers Conference, I had a gentleman come up to me and introduce himself. He declared he was a microbiologist. I didn't ask for any credentials, but I assumed he was telling me the truth. I'm a student of body language. He was telling me the truth. And he said that, Ellie, I want you to know that your DNA studies with your team, that the DNA studies that you have done have sent a ripple through academia. People are afraid to talk about it, and I understand why, but it's making a difference. I want to thank Mondo Gonzalez for coming down there. Chase Klotsky, who collected all of our samples. Mondo was our lead archaeologist. The late Richard Shaw, who filmed everything. I want to thank Paleo DNA Lab in Canada, who were completely forthright with us and still are at every step of the way. We are doing more DNA testing, more about that in the upcoming weeks. Thank you for watching, folks. You got to remember that this has all been covered up, but we've got this right here. We've got this, and this is from the 1800s, 19th century. They knew what was going on, but all that's been changed. Well, there are no giants. This is all cranial deformation, which leads me to tell you this. Get our DNA film. Get it. Watch it. It'll blow your mind because it's all about this stuff. All about it. Streaming.lamarzulli.net. Streaming.lamarzulli.net. It's on the trail of a Nephilim. There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of a Nephilim.